let's talk about the name of our components. So earlier I told you that it's best to prefix our components names with app to prevent name conflicts. This is an approach that a lot of people in the React Native community follow, but to be honest with you, I personally don't follow this myself because the whole purpose of namespaces or packages is to prevent name conflicts. So we can have two objects or functions or classes with the same name but in different packages. That's perfectly fine. The reason I didn't tell you this earlier in the course was that I wanted to minimize the chances of you getting stuck while following the course. For example, let's say we call this component text input instead of app text input. Now you could accidentally import the text input in the React Native core, and then you wouldn't get the same result as me in the videos. Simple things like that can often get overlooked by beginners. But now that you're fairly confident with the tooling and React Native code, let me show you how I personally like to name these components. I'm going to rename one component as an example and show you a simple technique. Then I'm going to pause the video and rename the other components. So I'm going to rename this file. So here we press enter and remove app. VS Code open this file, app form field, because here we have a reference to this component. So the path is updated. Good. Let's save the changes. Now, in our text input component, we should still call this app text input because in this component, we are importing the text input of React Native. So if we call this text input, and because we're using text input over here, we'll end up with an infinite loop. This wouldn't work. So in this file, we should still call this component app text input, but we rename the file to text input. Now we go to where we're using this component, like app form field, and here we manually rename this component. So we press F2 and rename this to text input. I think that's better, that's cleaner, but if you prefer a prefix, that's perfectly fine. Going forward, I'm going to stick with short and clean names. All right, here's the end result. In our forms package, we have form, form field, and form picker. I prefer these names to, let's say, app form picker. And in our components folder, we have button, picker, text, and text input.